Hello, BookTube. I know I already bothered you once today, but I was tagged, and I wanted to respond. This is the pasta book tag, and it was created by Josh at Literary Gladiators, who snubbed me. And I first saw it at Strip Cover Lit, but the guys there also snubbed me. But Jess at Rebel Reads did me the favor of tagging me. Thank you so much. And it's basically mapping our universal love of books onto one of the only other universal loves in life, which is pasta. So we get right to it. Question number 1, macaroni and cheese. The most heartfelt book you've ever read. For me, that is Eric by Doris Lund. Her memoir of her teenage son dying of leukemia. That is just wrenching. It's the very worst possible use for a mother's love, but a mother's love is channeled white hot on every page. Question number 2, spaghetti and meatballs, a work you know inside and out. Well, I mentioned on this channel, I've read a lot and I reread a lot, so there are a lot of candidates for this. Lord of the Rings, for instance, there are huge chunks of it I know by heart. The John Carter of Mars novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs, unjustly not remembered as well as Tarzan, but my Bible. But naturally, at this time of year, the thing I'm thinking of is Homer's Iliad, because June is when I read the Iliad. So I'll go with the Iliad for now. Number 3, lasagna. A work filled with complex layers. Now, I know that the typical kind of answer for this are hopscotch-style works like Gould's Book of Fish or Cloud Atlas or Hopscotch by Cortázar. But for me, if you want layers, you go to the Russians. And I would pick 2. One where the layers are self-evident, where it's just an opulently epic thing, and that is Life and Fate by Vassily Grossman. And the other, the layers are a little more deceptive. The book itself is deceptive. It's one of my all-time favorite Russian classics. It's Oblomov by Goncharev, which on the surface looks like it's just a very long novel about a man who really doesn't want to get out of bed. Question number 4, stuffed shells, a work that is attention-grabbing from start to finish. For me, I want to pick a relatively recent novel. This is The Survivor by Gregg Hurwitz. And the part about it being gripping right from the start, it couldn't be any more vivid. The main character is a vet who has a degenerative nerve disease and knows that he's going to die, and that he's not just going to die, but he's going to become a completely helpless vegetable before he does die. And he decides suicide is the right answer. So he scouts out the buildings in his town and finds one that's old enough to still have outside ledges on high windows. And he goes to that building fully intent to kill himself, and finds an open storeroom, goes out onto the ledge, looks down and realizes that ill luck has put him over a dumpster. He's worried that he'll survive and be mangled or something. So he edges his way around the side of the building to find a good, clean spot to drop. And when he's doing that, as he passes a window, he notices a bank robbery in progress. And one of the robbers is standing in the cubicle right by the window, but of course he's not looking out. He's not expecting someone to be out on the ledge. And the man's heroism kicks in, and he foils the bank robbery. And right as the bank robbery leader is getting away, he says, "He will not be happy." And that's when you know there's trouble. And the book goes on from there without slowing down at all. But that, for me, that is one of the most clever openings to any novel that I've ever seen. He's on the ledge to kill himself when he sees a bank robbery in progress. But anyway, let's see here. Where are we? Number 5, Penny Vodka, a work for younger audience with an adult theme hidden inside. And for me, this is an author I mentioned here just the other day. This is David Levithan. And the book is Two Boys Kissing. And on the surface, it's just a YA novel of family standard variety of young people in love. But in a stroke of genius that I still can't account for. I would like to talk to this guy. The book is narrated by a chorus of gay men who died during the first rampage of the AIDS epidemic. They're gone. They're a dead chorus. And they're watching these boys who can walk down the street hand in hand, who can tell their families that they're gay, who can tell their friends that they're gay. And it's a world they never experienced, but they dreamt of it. And it both torments them and pleases them to watch it as the stories unfold. Because, of course, the course of true love does not run smooth, no matter who you're attracted to. And it's amazing and heartbreaking and uplifting all at the same time. And, you know, I don't mean any disrespect to the teenagers who are coming to this book. I think they're the luckiest teenagers in the world. But there are going to be elements of that chorus that they simply do not understand. And the chorus of dead men actually says that outright. They talk about working with two different levels. Oh, I heartily recommend it as a YA novel to teenagers, but I would also love to put it in the hands of fellow survivors, of people who thought, you know, is this what the rest of my life is going to be? Going to a funeral every week until finally somebody comes to mind. I'd like to put it in the hands of those people and see what they think. I think it would bring them to tears. These questions, the answers are getting long, aren't they? All right, number 6. Elbow Macaroni, a work that is easy to read. For this, I picked a contemporary book, hot off the presses. This is Heat and Light by Jennifer Haigh. On one level, you could easily dismiss it as her fracking novel, but it's so much more than that. And it's an unabashedly huge cast of characters, and it's better writing from her than I have ever seen by several orders of magnitude. You just can't put it down. Let's see here. Number 7, Farfalle, a work that you would read to catch someone's attention. I have a feeling that this question betrays the age group of the people who thought it up. I do not read to catch people's attention because I'm 200 years old and have visible smallpox scars from 1781. So I'm going to pass on this question. Question number 8, Noodles, a long work that is a great experience to read. Now, again, here I'm assuming, just because I'm on BookTube, that we're not talking about nonfiction here, that we're not talking about Francis Parkman or Edward Gibbon or anything like that, that we're talking about fiction. And so for fiction, I did pick one. I intend to mention it a few times on this channel, so get used to it. And it's Vikram Seth's big book, A Suitable Boy. This one doesn't look quite as big as the American version. This is actually the Penguin version from India. And so this huge multi-generational story of two families in India trying to arrange a marriage for their youngest generation and what all the different generations think of it. And it's just a joy to read. You don't notice how long it is while you're reading. Let's see here. Number 9, Lo Mein, your favorite work of Eastern literature. I was very happy to see that on Stripcover Lit, while the guys there were in the process of snubbing me, they recommended The Tale of Genji, which is a book that I've mentioned on this channel before, the first and still the best novel of them all by Murasaki Shikibu. And it almost wins the top spot for me. Unfortunately, it's beaten out by another book from the same period, and that is The Tale of the Heike. This is translated by Royal Tyler, who did the translation, a very good translation of The Tale of Genji, and it's the story of an Iliad-like, Hatfield and McCoy-like war between the Genji clan and the Heike clan, and it doesn't have quite as much pinky in the air after dinner extemporaneous poetry competitions as Genji does. But what it lacks in that, it makes up for in Severed Heads on Pikes. Let's see here. Number 10, Ditalini, a writer you feel is essential for a particular genre. Well, I've mentioned on this channel that I love romance novels, and I think you can probably tell that of romance novels, I love Regency romance novels most of all, and of course, the god of all our idolatry for Regency romances is Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice, who wrote the Regency romance, didn't even know she was doing it. So it would be her. She's a somewhat predictable answer. But let's see here. Question number 11, favorite pasta. What is your favorite pasta? Mine is fettuccine alfredo, but it's not a dish that I can enjoy often because I was taught how to eat by a different species than humans. a far less controlled species than humans when it comes to eating. And when I eat fettuccine alfredo, it is not a pretty sight. I have actually had trained waitstaff stop and stare. So I don't eat it lightly, and I don't eat it in public anymore, but it's my favorite by far. And let's see here. Question number 12. Sunday night at Grandma's. Who do you nominate? Who do you tag with this? And, you know, I should point out, before I move on, that pasta was not served at my grandma's on Sunday night or any other night. It was boiled cabbage and baked potatoes. Thank you very much. But I tag Rachel at Rae of Books. I tag Katie at Books and Things if they have pasta in England. She'll let me know if they do. And I tag Caroline from CarolineReads. So that is the pasta book tag. It was a great deal of fun to do. So thank you, Jess, for tagging me. And I'll see you tomorrow, book 2.